I want to talk to you for a minute about how I get lawn care customers. Today's video is sponsored by my friends at Yardbook. If you're looking for a lawn care software, quit playing around and go check out yardbook.com. I've been using Yardbook since 2015. I got a quote in last night, and so a lot of the quotes I get come in from my website. My website ranks fairly well on Google, so I get a lot of leads. The problem with that is Google is full of spam. They Google my business, which is now under the Google Maps, and I get all these requests asking for so-and-so wants to know if I do lawn care service and do I accept credit card payments, and oh, I'm out of the country, can I please have your PayPal email address, and all, scam all the time. So those are difficult. But occasionally I get a real human being that actually wants lawn care service in my area. And sometimes they call, sometimes it's a message on this form I have on my website. So having a website that ranks well on Google is very important as far as getting business. That's not the only way, but that is a great way. So last night I get a request that comes in, and it comes to my phone on email, or somebody had filled out the form. And I look at the address, I'm like, boom, that's in one of the neighborhoods I actually want yards in, so that's great. And again, I had to filter through lots of calls about, do you mow grass, do you do irrigation, do you sell sod, do you do all kind of stuff. But finally you get to a good one. So this person, when they send that over, what I like to do personally is I like to call them immediately, because I want them to know that I am responsive and I definitely want your business. So I get the message, it's in the neighborhood I want. I call them, I say, hey, this is Jason. This is Jason with Alabama Lawn Pros. I just got a request for a quote, and I'm just letting you know I would love to take a look at that for you. Would it be okay if I come out first thing tomorrow morning? So I'm shooting this video tomorrow morning, which was yesterday's tomorrow, and I'm about to get in my truck, go look at the yard. I just messaged her again and said, hey, I'm about to head your way, would that be okay? She said yes. One of the things you also do, I use Yardbook for my software, and it has a feature where you can measure the yard. So I go ahead and type the yard into that Yardbook lot measurement feature, and I can trace it out, and it will spit out the square footage. Now in this particular yard, the neighborhood is fairly new, the houses are fairly new, and so I wasn't able to locate the exact house on that feature. But usually that's a great thing to do, but I don't want to just go with that. So I want to measure it on that. Then I've got a measuring wheel in my truck. I'm gonna go out to the yard. I want to actually look at the yard, see what kind of weeds are in the yard, measure it, talk to the person face to face, try to sell myself as a lawn care professional. And that's how to sell. I'm just saying, you want them to speak to them, say, hey, this is a guy I trust with my lawn. So that's what I'm about to do now. Get in the truck, go measure yard, tell the customer, and I'm gonna update you on how well it goes, if I get this customer or not. Believe it or not, that's not even my ugliest chicken. I got one uglier than that needs to grow some feathers. But I guess one thing I can mention in the whole process is just communication. I get the request, I gotta have an avenue for them to contact. They contact me, I quickly communicate back to them I'm interested. The next morning, I tell them when I'm gonna come out. The next morning, I go ahead and message them before I come out. I'm letting them know the whole process. This is a person that seems like they want the business, trustworthy, good communication. I want to deal with. I feel like by the time I talk to them face to face, I hope I've already checked off a few of the boxes that they're looking for in a lawn care professional. I'm in my truck. Let me show you what I got in my truck with me. That's my handy measuring wheel. Got the yard stakes, yard signs, big hats. So I'm going to talk to the customer. What I want to do is establish my credibility. Now, one thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to pricing, I have a pricing chart that's based off square footage, but I'm very particular about the yards I take on and try to get ones in neighborhoods I'm already established. Just so happens this is a neighborhood I'm very established in. It's very close to my house. I'm really excited about this yard. Small yards. This would be the type of yard I definitely want. Now, I will say this particular neighborhood has some of the worst topsoil ever. No topsoil, built on basically rocks. So the grass is sometimes a little bit of a challenge for that situation. But she said this yard had been recently sodded. So I want to look at it, see if the grass is actually rooted down yet. And I'm not trying to sell her on spraying the yard today. I'm actually going to talk to her about possibly waiting until we can do fall pre-emergent application which would be an important one. But again, I want to look at the yard, make sure it's rooted, because I don't want to spray a pre-emerge application if the grass is not fully rooted yet. If this yard was further away from my house and an area I wasn't established in, most likely I wouldn't even take them as a customer, but if I would want to reflect that in my price. But since it's in a neighborhood I'm established in, I can give them my best price, which will still be very profitable for me because it fits in with a tight route and a very efficient way that I run my business. Okay, I spoke with the customer, I looked at the yard. Good news and bad news. The good news is I looked at the grass, it's definitely established, no concern at all as far as me spraying a pre-emergent. Bermuda grass, it roots very quickly, it's growing like crazy. It was put down late, they haven't had any treatments on it, so it's got crabgrass, other weeds in it that I'm not overly concerned about because we're approaching late summer and getting into the fall. Those weeds are going to start going away soon. So I recommend the customer that we start in the fall to get going with the program. This is not good or bad news, but these people are not originally from the United States. English is not their first language, so there's some cultural differences. Well, they did speak, but their English was fine, and so it was not really a communication barrier, but sometimes the decision-making barrier can be a little bit different. So the person I was speaking with said, hey, let me speak to somebody else and we'll get back to you. And they asked about paying up front for the year, which would be great with me. I told them, yes, there is a 5% discount if you want to pay up front of the year. They also just want the front yard only, which is fine with me because it's just a tiny little front yard. And it, again, really close to other customers I already have. No problem getting this yard shaped up, and I really want to get this one. And my expectation is I'm going to hear back that I will get this one. So we'll see. I may wait and wrap up the video after I hear back from the customer. The other thing I want to mention is when I go look at these yards, I mean, I'm pulling up in my full uniform. I'm not actually planning on spraying yards today, but I've got my full uniform on. I've got 5 2-gallon tanks on one side of my truck. I got 2 backpack sprayers on the other side of my truck. I got a 400-gallon split tank from Graham Spray Equipment on the back of my truck. I've got a ride-on spreader sprayer, and I look like I am ready to take on the world as far as lawn care goes. My theory is when you go to meet a customer, you want to look the part, okay? Now, occasionally, if you watch a baseball game, you might see one random fat guy out there that's actually a really good baseball player. But most of the time, the ones that are really, really good, they look like they should be really, really good, okay? You don't see them just out of shape and they're all of a sudden some major league superstar. So my theory is when you go to talk to the customer, you need to look like a lawn care professional, even if you just started yesterday, okay? Make it look the part. That's what I'm talking about, your business image, your website, everything. But you can put on a shirt that looks like you have been doing lawn care before. You know, when you go to the mechanic shop, I mean, I want to see a little bit of grease on the mechanic's hands and looks like he knows what he's doing and at least been out there doing something. So if I don't hear from this customer by tomorrow, let's say, I'll probably send him just a quick text and just give myself one more chance. I kind of expect to hear from him today, but if I don't hear from him tomorrow, I say, hey, you know, just following up with you, did you have a chance to speak with so-and-so about your lawn? And we just want to know if I can put you on my schedule. So once I get the customer, then I'll enter them in the yard book for my software. I'll put them on my schedule, and they will be on the same day as all these other people in the same neighborhood, where I can keep efficiency, which in my opinion is one of the most important things to run a lawn care business. And I even did a video at one point that efficiency is more important than price. I'll put a link to that popping up on your screen if you want to go watch that one. Not that price is not important, but I think efficiency is actually more important oftentimes. Let's see if I hear back from this customer. Well, I got good news. I was sitting around this morning thinking about that customer that I gave the quote to yesterday, and I thought maybe I should send a little follow-up text. And it got to be about 11 o'clock, I got a message from that customer saying, hey, I spoke with my relative, we're good to go on the lawn care service. So I called just to talk to her in person, say, hey, that's great, let me get your email address so I can put you in my system. And she wanted to know how to pay, and she wanted to know, can I go ahead and pay for the final 2 treatments of this year plus all of next year? I said, that'd be great. You get a 5% prepaid discount. Send her over the invoice. Everything's good to go. I've got a small, tiny yard in a neighborhood I'm already established in that is about ideal for what I'm looking for. And the customer wants to pay up front for the remainder of this year, all of next year. I don't know what else could have went better about that. So I did receive payment from the lady. She texts me later the same day and says, hey, my sister-in-law lives in the same town. Would it be okay if I give her your phone number so she can talk to you about her lawn as well? But that was an important lesson, because sometimes I realize You don't know which customer that you're about to land that is also an influential person. For instance, I just saw one of my customers' names the other day in the local newspaper, and just so happens he's the HOA president of a neighborhood with hundreds of homes in it. I had no idea he was the HOA president, but I've been doing his yard for quite some time. So you just never know what kind of influence one customer might have in a positive or negative way on other people in the community. I hope this gives you a little bit of insight on how I go about landing customers in the lawn care business. Yes, price matters, things like that, but you can do some other things other than price to set yourself up for success. And then if the price is not a barrier, boom, hopefully you're gonna land that customer. I'm Jason Creel, appreciate you watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. There's almost 1,000 videos on here. I've been doing YouTube for a long time. Also, if you wanna get in weed control and fertilization like me, then you wanna go to lawncarelife.com. There's resources available for you there, including the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy. I hope to see many of you at the Equip Expo this year, which used to be called the GIE Plus Expo. If you wanna use the code LawnCareLife, that's all one word, you'll save half off your registration. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.